Hi everybody, welcome back to the Capacities YouTube channel. Today I'm going to do a video walkthrough of some of the advice that Anna communicated to us in her recent class notes series. I have the links to all of them here. They're up on our website now and you can see from the titles what we're going to be discussing today. Essentially, Anna works with us and she helps us create content, and she is a student and she has been using Capacities for her studies for a really long time and has some really great advice that she shared with us in these articles. I'm going to show you what that looks like in video form today, not in full depth because otherwise we'll be here all day, but just picking out the best bits that you can action for your Capacities space straight away. Now, it goes without saying that this is not the only way that you can take class notes. If you're doing it differently, it doesn't mean it's wrong, it's just different, and that's okay. And honestly, we'd really like to hear how you're doing it. So I will put information in the description box for how you can submit use cases to us if you'd like to share, and maybe we can make videos about those too. But today, let's start with Anna's use case for taking notes in Capacities. So first things first, let's set up where we will take these notes. Now, Anna's advice is really interesting. In part 1, she recommends using a project object type with just a few properties and using these projects as a hub for all of your class notes. And what she does is she has one project per class, and then she links everything she needs together. And as we can see from this picture here, she pins each class as a tab in her workspace, opening any relevant things in the right hand sidebar. And this really is like a space you can dive in and out of throughout the week when you're attending your classes. So let's have a look at how we can set that up. So whilst I already have a project object type, I'm going to show you how to start this from scratch. So let's click on new type, and you can actually just use the template that we have built in. If you click on this, you'll also see all of the articles that we have published already that use the project object type, so you can get some more ideas about it as well. But let's click use template, and if we open the first project up, we can see what properties have come as part of it. Anna recommends keeping the status and the start date, but everything else you can hide by toggling on the option in the visibility settings here, and that will go to the bottom of your list and you just see what you need to see. Anna also uses this collaborators property to write down which teachers are involved or any classmates that she might be working with, but again, if you don't need that, feel free to change the visibility. You can hide something completely, as I did previously, or you can click hide when empty, which makes a nice little button here. Anna also adds a place to attach any relevant documents, and this is what helps us create that really useful sidebar later on. So I'm going to add a property, and the purpose of this property is to link PDFs. As students, you probably get a lot of documents or class notes, and often in PDF form. You can upload these to Capacities and, importantly, link them to whichever class they are related to. So we can do that a couple of ways. You can add a text property and just call it documents, and you can link anything you like. So if I do at PDFs, it shows me all the PDFs that I have, or if you want it to look a little bit fancier, you can choose this multi-select option. Again, call it documents and choose PDFs from this drop-down list. I'll show you what the difference is. It's minor, but you might prefer it this way. You have PDFs that look like that. If I click either of these links whilst holding the shift key down, it's going to open that PDF in the right hand sidebar. You'll also see there's a toggle option here. So if you've got several PDFs, you can open several at once. You might not need to see them all at once, so just collapse them. But this is now beginning to look like a workspace for this plant biology class. Now imagine this multiplied for every class you have. You have somewhere for you to write your status. You have somewhere to track when it starts. You can keep the documents all accessible, all in one, and you can open them up here. This is going to be really helpful when we start taking notes a bit later on. Whilst I'm here, I will also show you what we can do with collection, because it's probable that you will have classes as projects like this, but you'll also have different type of projects. Perhaps they're related to your home life or to a job that you have on the side of your studies. So by creating a collection, by simply clicking this collections button, calling it classes and clicking create, you now have a zoomed in look at just your classes. So we've added the properties that we need, and we can see how to utilize the side panel just to start with. We're going to close that for now, and we're going to look at what simple template we can make to organize the kind of top level information you need for your classes. We're thinking things like deadlines, related tasks, and anything you might want to remember, a bit like a scratch pad. Anna's looks just like this. Obviously, that's not in English, so we will make an English version today following this here. So this is a heading with some toggles beneath it. So that's very easy to achieve, and I'll show you how to do that. So we have a heading 1. There's lots of ways you can create headings. / and the number of the heading that you want is a quick way. But you can also use markdown shortcuts. So we can use 2 hashtags for heading 2, or you can just type what you want, click on the dots beside it, and choose your heading size from there. Let's add a nice icon to this. We'll use the pin, and let's group this. So what I did there was I just clicked on the block I want to have at the top of this group, pressed escape, that selected that whole block, and then shift and the down arrow, that selects things beneath it. If I do Command G, that will group these blocks. Command G will then also undo that. And if you don't want to use a shortcut, you can just click on one of the 6 dots to the left and click group there. Anna then applied some colour to the back, which we do through this menu. And there we go. We have a section at the top. Anna also used toggles for this. Now, toggles are useful because you can just nest a lot of information beneath it, but still keep it looking clean. I'm using the new outliner mode, which is where you can choose what your toggles look like. So I've chosen bullet points, and this is an option in the editor settings. But if I click toggle, they now look like the classic triangles. It's all personal preference, but I quite like the look of the bullet points, so I will keep it like that. So beneath this, we might want to write down the important dates for this class. But while I'm here, I'm actually going to turn this into a template. So I'm going to select this and press copy. I'm going to go up to the 3 dots in the top right corner. There's a section here for templates, and I can click new template. I'm going to paste that group that I've just created here, and I'm going to add this template essentially to the classes object. I'm going to call the template new class, and that is now saved, because as mentioned, this is super useful for one class, but students have lots of classes, so we might as well just save our hard work here before we fill it in just for plant biology and set up the other classes while we're at it. So if I click onto my class and then click add, I can create a project, apply this template. It's automatically now in my classes collection, and it has all of those headings that we've just set up very quickly. So there is my second class. I've linked to the appropriate documents. I'll say it's in progress and that it started last Monday. So my classes are there, and now I have this space for me to fill in the important dates. So I could say that the exam is at the end of May, and I need to review the definition of, there we go, just an example. And remember, these are toggles, so you can click them and everything nested beneath it gets hidden away, and you have this really clean look. So do this for each of your classes, and now you have a one-stop shop for all of your related documents and information for your classes. So this is a great idea from Anna, and a very powerful way to get yourself set up and confident that you know where your required resources are for your class. But obviously, setting up your organisation for a class is just the beginning. You've actually got to go to class, take notes and learn from it. So let's talk about that next. Now, Anna's articles really highlight the importance of indenting. And the reason that's important for an app like Capacities is because you can link to everything. Linking to things builds out backlinks, and from these backlinks we know what our understanding of a topic is, and over the course of a class this becomes really, really powerful. So let's demonstrate that now. Essentially, when you're in class, obviously you just have to pay attention and take notes as best as you can. If you are able to put your lecture notes in PDF form into your notes in the class, you can. I know that my lecturers used to put up their documents before class, so you could download them. And this is actually really useful because if you shift click on them, so again, any linking Capacities, if you hold down shift as you click it, that will move into the right hand sidebar. If you are able to do this, you can use the headings presented in these documents as a way to structure your notes. So let's say before the class, I could write down some headings like this, and I could highlight everything, apply a heading. This is using bulk actions, gets you set up a bit faster, and then you can start writing as you are in your class. Okay, so we're not actually here for a plant biology lesson, so I won't go too deep into taking notes on this, but essentially you're trying to assign your notes under a heading, and ideally we want to be indenting it. So let's look at why that's important. So let's look at cellulose as an example. This is something that will come up time and time again in biology notes, and you need to know about it. So it might be sensible to create a page where you can talk about this. So you can link from your class notes to these important concepts. You might do this during class, or you might wait until you have all of your notes written up and then do your linking after class. Completely up to you, I suppose. It depends on how fast your classes are. But I'm going to highlight cellulose, and I'm going to create an object for this. At the point you create an object, you need to choose its type. I think for this I will choose definition. Now, if I click on cellulose, I'll close this side panel now we're out of class, all I can see is that it's referenced in my plant biology class. Now this is useful because I know what class it's related to, but if I go back and I indent information about cellulose beneath where I originally referenced it, and now click on cellulose, I have that original reference plus the information associated with it. And that is all facilitated by the fact I simply indented these notes. Again, click on it, and now all of this information about cellulose is available right there. So then when it comes to working out what cellulose is, so you make sure you've got your definition ready for your exams, all you need to do is scroll down to your backlinks and have a look at what you have said about cellulose across your whole space. And then you write it up here. You might have several sources that talk about it. Compare and contrast what they say and make sure you understand what it's actually teaching you about. And when you're happy with your definition, you can write it in this object, and you have that long term to feed into your exams and your assessments. Now imagine this on the scale of like every term that you learn from each of your classes. Simply by indenting, you remove the requirement to always have to go back through your class notes, through everything you've ever written, because obviously classes take a long time and you'll have a lot of notes. It's a way of directing your future self to the exact information that you need, and all of it is as simple as clicking tab when you are writing. So these are not indented, it's not a particularly useful backlink. Press tab, and now it's all indented and a very useful backlink. Now, just to give you an idea of how this scales, this is one of Anna's classes. She's got lots of headings here, and we can see she's also linking to other items in her space. So this class page becomes this hub where you go to for all of your important documents, all of your important dates and tasks, things to remember, and all of your class notes. If you don't want everything open all of the time, don't forget to use toggles. There's lots of ways to create these. And again, by indenting, they go neatly beneath their heading, and you can end up with a really well structured but useful amount of information on your page because of cleverly using indenting and linking. So when you're in class, all you need to be thinking about really is the rough headings and then just indenting things beneath it. As mentioned, your class notes themselves might give you an idea of which headings are important, but equally, if you're not quite sure when you're in the class, this can be part of a really useful review after. You know it will be worth your time because whatever you indent properly, whichever things you link to, whether they're definitions, examples, images, you will be able to see in the backlinks its context, and those backlinks will tell you the answers that you're looking for. What is cellulose? What is a nucleus? And so on. And what's great is even if you have lots of classes, this exact same process works. You have everything you need on the page. You can pin your classes as workspaces at the top of your Capacities window, so you can dive into exactly what you need when you need it from your notes. And now you know exactly what to do. Use your headings, indent the information that's related to the content above it, and make sure you review those backlinks that you end up creating, because that is how you get this long-term knowledge that's going to make you feel confident and supported in your studies, and that must be a great feeling. If you have any questions about this or want to see it in more depth, definitely check out Anna's articles. She goes into great depth, you see more examples, and it will help you figure out how you might apply this to your own studies. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.